title, so I'm going to have to do it post in LinkedIn. But actually, what I wanted to talk about is not the title that you see. Don't listen to influencers. I want to talk about your 2025 business plan. And, I'm 15 years as an entrepreneur. I get asked all the time to review sales comp plans and sales plans and intersecting with marketing plans. Think of them as go-to-market plans. And I see a fundamental problem every year I look at it. So there's two fundamental problems, and I've been talking about this first one for years. It's the percentage of quota attainment that is the responsibility of the seller that will not come as a tailwind from other sources, predominantly marketing. A lot of times, a business plan is built and it shows actions and activities, a number of sales qualified leads that a seller needs, and it assumes far too much weight is given to marketing and channel, and far little is given to the sales team that needs to do what's called self-sourcing. A lot of times they'll underestimate this. They'll say, well, the sellers need to do 10, 20%. When in fact, when you really dive into their book of business, they need like 70% is due by the seller. So the seller within quarter one falls rapidly far behind, and they can't play catch up because they have way too much headwind against them. Let's parking lot that one. I'll talk about that one at a later date. This one is around the mathematics of a quota plan. And what I constantly see is in that mathematics, there is a fundamental mistake. And that fundamental mistake is that it accounts for volume. There are three levers that you should be playing with when building a plan for sales around actions and activities. The first one is very natural, and people think about it all the time. It's the volume of sales qualified leads that you're going to get. And how many will come from the seller, from marketing, from the channel, from general referrals or customer referrals, from another form of marketing like paid media, upsell and cross-sell. That bucket is what makes sales qualified meetings happen. But then there are two other controllables. One is going to be velocity, the speed at which a deal comes in, and the rapid response in which it becomes a customer. So that is called the sales velocity, the time it moves from sales qualified lead to building consensus, to in proposal, to in contract, to close one. The second is then conversion or probability, the probability of winning that deal. And this is where a lot of sales teams go wrong. The percentage of conversion or probability of win is dramatically different by source. So a very novice sales organization will spread like peanut butter the assumption that we close 25% of every sales qualified meeting. That's a 4-to-1 pipeline coverage ratio. Thus, we need to have 4 times the pipeline of 25%, a close win rate. Well, that's not true, because each source has its own conversion. And what you'll typically see where the cumulative average is 25%, the outbound motion has like a 7% conversion rate, where the customer referral has a 42% conversion rate, and the customer upsell and cross-sell has a 66% up rate. And then the marketing, organic content rate comes at 13%. So not only have you spread, so you've got volumes coming in, but you created a weighted average of 25% across the board, which completely overvalues your low converters like outbound, and completely undervalues your high converters, such as customer referrals, as an example. And then intermixed with that, you have different velocities. The velocity and speed at which you win a customer upsell and cross-sell, or even a referral, is dramatically faster than typically an outbound lead. So if you look at our customer, just look at my company, Get Leverage. Upsell, cross-sell, deal closes in under a week. Customer referral closes in under 10 days. Outbound sales deal might be 30 days. But again, if you were to, that is rapid response in comparison to most of you, which have, 90 days, 180 days, 365 day sales cycles. So now what you've done is you took a blanketed average. And remember, every meeting that you're booking right now, if you have a 90-day sales cycle, means that that deal isn't going to happen till February. But if you took a blanketed average and you just assumed, well, every SQL we create right now is going to close in 90 days. Well, that's not true, because you might have outbound deals that won't close till July, because your average for outbound is 6 months, where your average for customer referral is like 14 days. So long and the short, what is the purpose here? The purpose is when you build your waterfall of sales qualified meetings to revenue ratio for each of your sellers, you need to be thinking not only of volume, but you need to have a calculator that assumes not a weighted average of all of the conversion by source. It needs to first create a volume goal by source, and then a weighted average around its percentage of close, and it needs to factor in the velocity or the time it's going to take to close it. And that's going to give you, as an example, as you create a sales qualified lead today, and it's of source X, it's going to have a protracted velocity of Y. It's going to take you X period of time, and the probability of conversion is going to be radically different than source B. Source B is going to have, again, a different conversion and a different velocity. And when you model all that out, that's how you figure out what 2025 is going to look like. You have to know each of your sources. You have to have a great estimate of volumes and a real plan of how you're going to create those volumes. Then you have to create in the weighted averages for that source alone. How long will it take to close? Velocity. And then its conversion. And then you put it over a calculator over 1 year. And that's how you create a more accurate plan for 2025. Hope you found this valuable.